So the stats just came out for the month of May from the Toronto Real Estate Board, and just like every city, Milton is also struggling. The prices are down, number of sales is down. So we're going to cover all that kind of stuff. I just want to give you guys as much information as I have access to. So in case you guys are thinking of buying or selling in Milton, just so at least you guys have a better idea what you're getting into and what to expect in today's market, not like last month or 3 months ago. By the way, I am a real estate agent. I know I bring a lot of bad news, but I promise you I'm not all that depressing. If you meet me in real life, so if you guys need an agent who's going to work hard for you guys, realtorvic.ca is where you can find me. And that's the end of the sales pitch. Now, if you guys don't have time to stick around for the whole thing, the video is probably going to be around 9-10 minutes long. This is a very basic breakdown of what's been happening in the market. What I did was I broke down average prices. So this is just for detached only. We're going to be getting into other types of homes later in the video. But detached homes only, every single market is down. Like Burlington, Oakville, Milton, Mississauga, and Brampton, these are the markets I usually cover. And every single market's down. Milton is down, but not as anything close to as like, let's say, even Oakville. Oakville's hit the hardest at 568. So these are detached average prices. And you can see here, like most of the markets are down about like $250,000 or so. Milton's down about $100,000 since the beginning of the year. Okay, so that's a very basic overview of what's going on in the market. But I also want to give you guys stats that you guys probably don't have access to. Agents see them, but the public doesn't see them. And I think by seeing these stats, you get a better pulse for the market, like your day-to-day, what's going on, which way the market's going. So we're going to cover these kinds of stats in this video. For example, like cancellations, how many listings are getting canceled and not selling, average prices, how long things are sitting on the market for, and months of inventory. So we're going to get into all that stuff right now. And as I promised, we're going to be covering every single type of house that you can imagine. So we'll start with the number of sales. You can see here the market kind of peaked in February, like February and March, where we had a whole bunch of sales. But you guys probably remember there was a rate hike in March and then another one for 0.5 in April. So we're starting to feel the effects of those two rate hikes right now. And you can see the market is going the wrong way. Historically, if you go back like even 50, 60 years, every year, almost every year, it's like the spring is always the busiest time of the year and winter is always the slowest. For the past couple of years, though, it's been out of whack. Like everything's all over the place. And how many listings are sitting on the market longer than 2 weeks? I picked 2 weeks because in the winter time, you probably remember nothing was sitting on the market for 2 weeks. Everything was just like, flying off the shelves. So as you can see here, like only 10 took longer than 2 weeks to sell in January. Same thing here, only 13. And 13 compared to 242 sold. And out of 242 sold, only 13 took longer than 2 weeks to sell. Now comparing that to the month of May, 188 sold and 42 took longer than 2 weeks to sell. Now it's not like a huge number. It's not like this is up to 150. But I think it also gives a good indication of which way the market's going. And cancel listings, like how many houses went up for sale, they were not able to successfully sell and they were canceled for one reason or another. I'll give you the two common reasons. And 245 of them got canceled. Compare that to January. There was no reason to cancel the listing because everything was selling. Like January, February is so low. But ever since the rate hike, like 165, 205, 245, probably around the 260 mark in June, I would guess. But yeah, 245 listings got canceled. I've gone through this in other videos as well. Most common reasons a listing gets canceled is one, the sellers want to try a certain price. They did not get that price and they're like, you know what, it's not worth it to sell, so we'll just cancel the listing. That's always possible. Second reason is they try to get a certain price. They were not able to get that certain price. Then they canceled the listing and relisted it as at a lower price. So that is also possible. If you guys want to get a feel for the market like day to day, this is what agents see and the public might not be able to see. So number of sales is down. How long things are sitting on the market for is up. And canceled listings is way up, like way up. Okay, so now let's get into average prices. So I've been keeping track since January. So to keep things consistent, I'm comparing everything to January. Okay, if I wanted to sensationalize the news, as some agents accuse me of, I do not try to sensationalize the news, because if I wanted to do that, I would compare the prices to February or March, because that's a even bigger drop. You know, they've dropped like almost 250, $300,000. So if I wanted to do that, in case, in like some agents say that I do, um, I would have just left the January price out. Not at all, not show this at all. I would have just shown February and March prices. Then it's a bigger shock value, like, oh my God. But I do not do that. So I'm just comparing everything to January just to keep things consistent. They're down about $106,000 since January, detached homes. Semis are down also about $100,000 since January. Like I said before, the market peaked in February, 1.394, so they're down about 200 grand if you compare it to February. But I'm trying to keep everything consistent. So just the beginning of the year, that's the comparison point. Freehold townhouses took a big hit, $188,000 down since January. That's a big drop. So they're selling just under $1 million mark right now if you want to buy a freehold townhouse. Condo townhouses down about $78,000, and condos are down about $30,000. And they also peaked in February, $781,000 selling in February, but now it's selling just under $700,000. So those are the key stats that I want to share with you guys, because if you're thinking of selling, I think it's important to know, like, is it going to sell in 3 days or is it going to take 2 months? And am I going to get 20 offers or I'm going to get 1 offer? So you guys want to keep an eye on that kind of stuff, because the last thing I want to happen is, because there are still ads, some agents, not all, a small percentage, they're still advertising like the market's still crazy busy, which it is not. So what I don't want happening to you guys is that, so you get promised like the moon and the stars, and then you get excited. Oh yeah, great, okay, I'll sell. And before you know it, you're locked up in a 3 to 4 month contract with no way out. So please be careful out there. But like I said, most agents will give you the honest truth, but there's always a certain percentage. Every industry has a few bad apples that will just say anything to get the listing. So just be careful out there. Last stat I want to cover is sales to new listings ratio. Basically just means how many are selling, how many are coming up. And this is not like a scientific formula, but this is just like a rough guideline that the industry uses. If the number is under 40%, you are in a buyer's market. If it's over 60%, you are in a seller's market. If it's 40 to 60, you are in a balanced market. Okay, so this is every city. This is just a screenshot straight from the Toronto Real Estate Board. And so before, like I said before, January is the comparison point, and this is May down here. And if you look at Milton's SNLR is at 77.5%, and right now it's at 66%. So you might say, Vic, that's not a big deal. Yeah, you're right. It is not a big deal. If you go by this number, over 60%, we're still in a seller's market. But I want to show you guys which way the number's going. I would not be surprised if I check back in June, this one's gone down to like 63% or something. That would not surprise me. So it's good to know, because if you guys are thinking of, maybe waiting to see if the market recovered, let's say, for example, you're thinking of selling your house in Milton. If you're waiting to see maybe the market might recover by the summer or September, I would probably say that's probably not going to happen unless some miracle happens. But I don't see it recovering that fast. If anything, I think it's going to be even slower, because this is just the effects of the first 2 rate hikes. Now, there was another rate hike June 1st, and we probably won't feel the effect of that for let's say a month or so. So if you guys are kind of on the fence, like, should I sell now or should I wait to see if it recovers? I'm not talking as a salesman. Just based on these stats alone, I would probably sell sooner than later, if all you have to do is sell. Because you already bought before and you're trying to line up the closing dates, I would probably sell sooner than later. And let me see if there's anything else. Yeah, I think that's about it. And like I said before, if you guys need any help, realtorvic.ca is where you can find me. And yeah, I think that's about it. Thanks. See ya.